Look at this guy. Isn't he great? Boy, oh boy, do I love me some RPG Maker games. Not because I particularly like RPGs, but because the engine's so simple to use that anyone can make anything they want, and that leads to some deliciously weird experiences. Case in point, Virgo vs. the Zodiac, a solo effort by game developer Munana, and while this is only a demo of Virgo, I think it offers a big enough chunk of gameplay to warrant a video. I won't lie, I have very mixed feelings on Virgo vs. the Zodiac, but I would like to start with the positives. This game looks absolutely gorgeous with fantastic sprite work and beautiful animations in combat. It also does a great job embracing its world. The game's themed on the Zodiacs, and this particular demo is set in Capricorn, and as such it's full of goats doing things like taxes and drinking coffee. Brilliant. You can choose between a story mode with easier combat for babies like myself, or a harder mode for those who enjoy difficult turn-based combat, which is everyone but me apparently. And it's a feature I really wish that more games like this actually had. The combat puts a good spin on the stone scissors paper mechanics found in a lot of other RPGs, and it uses a color coding system for enemies, so it kind of streamlines your thought process while you're playing, which is great. The music is really solid, and it lends itself well to the atmosphere of the game, and man, the UI is such a huge step ahead of most games made in the RPG Maker engine, it's hard to believe. But, all of that said, there's quite a few things I didn't enjoy during my experience. The story and main characters very much feel like typical RPG Maker tropes, and what's introduced in the demo feels very generic for the genre, especially when you compare it to the world the game's actually set in. It almost feels like the characters are doing the world a bit of a disservice. It's a little bit too similar to another more famous RPG Maker game. The game's tone can feel really uneven. Like, the game is full of cute characters and art, and the writing's really cute, but it also features some graphic violence. Now, these elements can be blended together, well, but the way they're handled in Virgo vs. the Zodiac feels quite disjointed, with no real context or point to the blood and violence. The game's combat, while mechanically very deep, has its mechanics and numbers thrown at you very fast early on. It makes the game feel very front-loaded, and I personally found it quite a bit overwhelming. I feel like these mechanics could have been introduced more gradually to help the pacing feel more natural. And while the game's environmental tiles look great, the use of some of them can lead to some really confusing level design. Interactive items also don't have an open and closed state, leading to a lot of not knowing if I'd searched part of an environment or not. Just as an example, I got lost after a certain enemy encounter because the key item you got after the battle wasn't dropped by the enemy, but rather in a generic crate beside the combat area. Personally, I think it would have made more sense if the enemies dropped the item in your inventory after you defeated them, or after you defeated them there was an item sitting there on the ground that you picked up. I'd also argue that there's a little bit too much flavor text. So, does Gerkinman recommend Virgo vs. the Zodiac? Kinda. None of these issues undermine the tremendous amount of work and thought that's gone into Virgo. Despite my issues with pacing and some of the visual language used in the game, what is there in the demo is fantastic at its best and promising at its worst. If you're an RPG Maker fan, this demo is absolutely worth checking out, but for everyone else, I'd recommend waiting for the full game to release in the hopes that some of these issues are rectified. Seriously though, look at this guy. He's great.